So when you go to have a baby, what a lot of people do nowadays is they'll send you to a pelvic floor specialist.
Yes.
And they'll do like these little electric readings. They'll put these little diodes internally, and it'll map your entire cervix. And you'll see where there's tension, if there's any kind of like asymmetry that's happening. And what they will say if you ask them about patterns is like certain areas, especially on the outside, will be like almost painful. If anyone does any like trigger point fascia release, right, with like a lacrosse ball, and you'll get to something like, oh my God, I'm barely touching it, and that's excruciating. You'll see a lot of pain on the outside of women that have experienced sexual trauma. So they'll have to work that out so that you can help like safely deliver a baby. A lot of women that have been stuck in chronic stress and flight have like a really tense pelvic floor. So and that was me. Like it was insanely just like it was constantly contracted and tight. So I had to spend months actively releasing and letting go. And a lot of that, again, it's just like being in a constant state of stress, and then you wonder why you're not able to experience pleasure with someone. And a lot of that is like shitty sex ed, because we're told we have to be tight. We have to be so tight so that he can enjoy himself, when in actuality it's like closing you both off to experiencing the most pleasure. And I learned this after my firstborn, because after you have a baby, everything is just loose for a while, right? It is just there. You cannot physically constrict. And I had the most predictable, reliable orgasms without trying.
Really?
Like,
oh my God.
it would be like, well, and I was like, what is happening? I thought sex was supposed to be terrible after babies, and this is like the best sex I've ever had in my life, because it was just like, whew, we're like relaxed finally. And it was the same experience for him. And now I'm back to my old patterns, and I'm like still actively trying to work on releasing. And I definitely want to get into that part of your book as well. But we hold on to so much of our stuff, and there's all of these tools that I think we dismiss. And that's why I love that you're doing these workshops, because you're showing women like there's so much more available than what you think that there is.
Yeah. And also, teaching men more about like the female anatomy and how to honor a woman. Like truly, like there is a temple, like yoni is the Sanskrit word for pussy, right? And so like it actually translates to sacred space, temple. And like thinking about this fact that every baby like comes through the world like through a woman's legs, like that's a portal between the spiritual world, the physical world, if you believe in that, right? If you believe that there is a spiritual world. And so what would it look like as a partner to honor a woman's body like as this sacred portal, not just for babies to come through, but like for like goddess divine energy to come through. But I love what you shared about like your experience with childbirth. I'm in those like preconception stages, and like the stories like that, it's just more people need to hear those stories, because we hear like all of these horror stories about birth and postpartum, and yes, it's challenging, and I'm sure that you had many other more intense initiations around it. But like let's also take the moment to really celebrate like the wins, and that makes a lot of sense to me, and I really identify with that.